birthright citizenship going to be a priority for the Trump administration and what to do with it? That's something we're all going to be watching. If they do, then that's something we're going to start covering.
So he cannot just pass in an executive order for this because it's in Constitution.
My understanding, and I've only done the basic research, first is you're going to have to amend the U.S. Constitution because that's in the 14th Amendment. That's going to become both a national and possibly a state issue because, you know, if it's being done as if this gets amended in the Constitution and then has to be ratified possibly by the states.
Every state?
It would be, you of course had to ask me a question, I know, it's either 2/3 or 3/4. That is my understanding now.
But for something related to immigration, let's say it's not in the Constitution.
Again, it's going to depend on the issue. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
It's 66% usually, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We'll look up this later. Again, this is not a story I've dug into much because generally considered a national issue, but it could be a multi. It's going to start in the federal to see how, you know, there's this thing I call political capital. What do you want to expend your energy on you know, because there's only so much time in the day, so much that government can do. Is this going to be a priority? Is birthright citizenship going to be a priority for the Trump administration and what to do with it? That's something we're all going to be watching. If they do, then that's something we're going to start covering.
Got it. So he cannot just pass in an executive order for this because it's in Constitution. But for something related to immigration, let's say it's not in the Constitution, let's say ending STEM OPT for international students, ending extended work authorization for international students. Can he just pass in an executive order and just make it possible?
Again, it's going to depend on the issue. It's going to depend on the agency, okay? It's going to depend on how that's one of the important things that the president has the power to do is to, how do federal agencies implement what he does, okay? You know, whether it's environmental policy, immigration policy, education policy, whether that falls under DOE, whether the Department of Education, or that falls under the State Department. And then, of course, there is a state portion of that because those students may be going to Georgia public colleges and universities, so there's going to be implementation questions there as well. Look, you're not the only person asking me, what if the Trump administration does X, Y, and Z? We have to see what they are going to try to implement, okay?